What's going on, gamers? This is DBM Gamer, and today I want to talk about one of the legendary warlocks of Destiny, Toland the Shattered, and a weapon that he created, Bad JuJu. But before I can get into that, I want to get to my shoutouts. My shoutouts is how I try to show appreciation back to the community that has gotten me this far. So I want to give shoutouts to Chris Silver 08, Reese Plays, Mr. Hart, Garen Reynolds, Jordan Hurd, David Camacho, and Ryan Fearing. Now, there are many legendary warlocks that have walked the halls of the tower, but few have ever been banished. Well, Toland the Shattered, however, was. Now, why is that? Because of the type of knowledge that Toland specialized in. He was obsessed with the darkness and the hive. Let me give you an excerpt from Toland's journal. I drive myself to the edge of madness trying to explain the truth. It's so simple, elegant like the knife point. It explains. This is not hyperbole. This is the farthest thing from exaggeration. Everything. But you lay it out and they stare at you like you've just been exhaling dust. Maybe they're missing some underlying scaffold of truth. Maybe they're all propped on beds of lies that must be burned away. Why does anything exist? No, 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 no. Don't reach for that word. There is no reason. That's teleology, and teleology will stitch your eyelids shut. Why do we have atoms? Because atomic matter is more stable than the primordial broth. Atoms defeated the broth. That was the first war. There were two ways to be, and one of them won, and everything that came next was made of atoms. Atoms made stars, stars made galaxies, worlds simmered down to rock and acid in those smoking primordial seas. And the first living molecule learned to copy itself. All this happened by one law, the blind law, which exists without mind or meaning. It's the simplest law, but it has no worshippers. How do I explain it? It's so simple. Why don't you see? Imagine three great nations under three great queens. The first queen writes a book of law, and her rule is just. The second queen builds a high tower and her people climb it to see the stars. Well, the third queen raises an army and conquers everything. The future belongs to one of these queens. Her rule is the harshest. Her people are unhappy, but she rules. This explains everything, understand? This is why the universe is the way it is and not some other way. Existence is a game that everything plays, and some strategies are winners. The ability to exist, to shape existence, to remake it so that your descendants, molecules or stars or people or ideas, will flourish and others will find no ground to grow. And as the universe ticks towards the close, the great players will face each other. In the next round, there will be 3 queens, and all of them will have armies. And now it will be a battle of swords, until one of them discovers the cannon or the plague or the killing word. Everything is becoming more ruthless, and in the end, only the most ruthless will remain, and they will hunt the territories of the night and extinguish the first glint of competition before it can even understand what it faces or why it has transgressed. This is the shape of victory, to rule the universe so absolutely that nothing will ever exist except by your consent. This is the queen at the end of time, whose sovereignty is eternal, but no other sovereign can defeat it. And there is no reason for it, no more than there was a reason for the victory of the atom. It's simply the winning play. Of course, it might be that there was another country with other queens, and in this country they sat down together and made one law, and one tower, and one army to guard their borders. A gentle place ringed in spears. But I do not think those spears will hold against the queen of the country of armies. And that's all that will matter in the end. Now, in case what Toland is talking about went above your head, let me break it down for you. What Toland is talking about is known as ontology, which is the branch of metaphysics dealing with the nature of being. What he is speaking about is natural selection, sort of a survival of the fittest. He believes that there will be a battle of 3 major groups in the near future, one designed by nature to be powerful, one structured by people to have order, and each of the 3 will have armies. But because of nature, that which is unrelenting will win. So he studied the darkness. Toland obsessed over the power of the traveler and the secrets of the darkness. His quest took him into enemy strongholds throughout the inner solar system. The weapon that Toland took with him on his travels was a vanguard rifle known as the Shadow's Price. That is until the knowledge he accumulated was deemed too dangerous and he was banished. His journals, however, was something that many other warlocks sought after. One of the things within them were the plans for a weapon known as the Bad JuJu. Now, even after you acquire the parts to assemble it from Xur, you still need the light of conflict to fill the frame. This is what you see me doing now. Now, once you're done, you're left with a pulse rifle that has dark energy seeping from it. It sort of explains the eerie glow that it has. If you believe your weapon wants to murder all of existence, then so it will. There must be a structured mechanical explanation for those weapons' hunger for combat. There must be, but none can be found. Now the perk String of Curses makes this one of the weapons that has a pretty high fun factor. If you mix Bad JuJu with the Obsidian Mind helmet, you can pull off stunts like this. Ariana 3, who you may remember from my first Battle of the Moon video, wanted vengeance against Crota. These are her words. In our world, Crota seemed invincible. Together, Erismorn and I worked the problem, but found no hope. We sought forbidden knowledge, the exiled master of Hive Arcana. We found Toland. Toland tells us that Crota's presence in our world is a shadow, that its true power resides in the netherworlds forged by his will. We must pass through a keyhole between realities, navigate the seething midnight of Crota's world mind, and overthrow the ascendant champions that gather to his throne. Toland speaks. He hardly seems mad at times. The terrible and awful things that await us, a secret song that he hungers to learn, and the issue of that song, an ashen burning star husk that looms above, the utter antithesis of life. He talks of it with curious ambition I don't want to understand. Well, turns out that Toland actually did try to explain his obsession of the Song of Yrute to Ariana 3. Ariana, let's sing. Sing with me. No, no, you rattling machine. No, it's not yet. Too soon. We don't know the words. We'll learn the song down there. We can learn it from her. She comes up from the deep dark places that gather where the hive await to sing it to us. And now here's a puzzle for you. The song is death. To hear it is to die. To know the words is mortal. Oh, good point, Ariana. Death is just a word now, isn't it? A catch-all term for the failure to go on. Nothing spiritual. Nothing when its own quiddity. We all died once, and it did not prove insurmountable. But what if, shh, listen, what if death were reified, described in its totality, made an autonomous and universal, separate from any other context or condition? What if she could invoke the ending of anything? How then would she know the song and sing it without herself dying? Perhaps they know the way to make themselves part of the song, part of something vast and burning that rots and peels into ash, but never ends. Perhaps she has engineered this for him and pinned his power up against the quiddity of death itself. I am so terribly curious to know. Now, Eris had said that the Shattered One once referred to Crota as being the god holding the domain in a threshold between our world and theirs. He said he deciphered the means by which the hive called to him. From what I've seen, I know he was right. Toland then gave Eris the reasoning behind why the hive liked to use swords. Eris, what a name for discord, a name for cold orbits where no living thing should dare to go. I like this name. Let me give you a gift, Eris. Let me tell you about the power and the logic of a sword. A shredder or a boomer is a powerful weapon, but it kills acyclically. You see, it sends out harm and takes nothing back. The bolt passes away into nothing. A sword, though. A sword is like a bridge, a crossing point. The sword binds the wielder to the victim. It binds life to death. And when the binding is done, a sword remembers. And when the boomer's fire has burnt away into axiom and neutrinos scatter, the sword goes on hungrier and sharper. Understand that this nightmare logic underpins his nightmare world, and you will see why the Ascendant Blade has so much power there. Whenever in our passage we find ourselves in need of power, remember that the greatest authority here is a blade made keen by eons of use. This is the world the hive crave, a universe creased by the edge of the sharpest sword. So Erismorn formed her team to go into the Hellmouth with Toland as their guide, but one by one they fell. So Toland used the Emerald Light to conceal Eris. They'll believe you're one of their own, and that is the only way. Toland's knowledge of the hive is the reason why Eris was able to survive. Eris of course returns to the tower, and with her knowledge, you and your skilled fire team are able to defeat Crota himself. So it's all good, right? Well, Toland told Eris one last thing. The Hive Pantheon only begins with Crota. The Shattered One said that he is but a child among their gods. Even now, I can hear the Hive calling to them, and to Crota's maker, Oryx. Well guys, if you like this type of content, just hit that like button, or leave a comment, or if you want to see more, just hit that subscribe button. But as always guys, have a good one.